Hi, Swarmers! Welcome back. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you're enjoying celebrating our country's independence. Did you know that last year in the US, we bought over 250 million pounds of fireworks? That is the equivalent amount of fossil fuels that the state of New York burns in one day. In honor of the US succession from the British Empire and historic rise to a global superpower, we thought we would take a look at past civilizations and how climate change affected their dominance. For over 3,000 years, ancient Egyptians prospered along the River Nile. Since the end of their reign, scientists have identified a relationship between volcanic eruptions resulting in a change in their climate and the suppression of Nile summer flooding. Without the summer flooding, their lands became less fertile, reducing agriculture capacity, causing tensions which eventually led to revolt against the ruling elite. As the Egyptians were faltering, Rome rose to prominence in favorable climatic conditions. From 200 BC to 150 AD, the Mediterranean provided ideal conditions for agriculture that increased GDP, helping the population to swell. However, during the 2nd century, droughts became more common. They encountered frequent severe winters and, as with the Egyptians, the annual Nile flood became erratic. During the 4th century, the Huns, nomadic native inhabitants of an arid zone between Hungary and Mongolia, faced a severe drought that forced their migration west. Reaching Eastern Europe, the Huns attacked the Goths along the Roman frontier, in turn forcing the Goths further west. A conflict between Rome and the Goths, with the Romans suffering unprecedented defeats, led to a breakup of these territories into Germanic kingdoms. After resurgence in the eastern Greek part of the Roman Empire, other climatic events dealt further blows. Several volcano eruptions from 536 to 545 led to staggering cooling of the planet for the next century. This strain on agriculture further strained the once great empire that was later decimated by the Black Death, and ultimately spiraled into complete failure over the next century. Another dominant civilization, China, has also had problems keeping their empire together. A study in 2007 at the University of Hong Kong by David Zhang and his colleagues found that during the last millennium in China, conflict followed climate change. In 12 of the 15 major wars they studied, cold periods preceded warfare. The study suggests that the frosts would have created food shortages, inspiring rebellions and making communities more vulnerable to invasion. But these events don't only affect large civilizations. Changed climate in Africa has shown a pattern of increased conflict during the warmer years. By 2030, this will increase armed conflict by 54% in the region. Conflict and lack of resources are contributing factors to migration in several regions of the globe. Again, of course, there are many variables that contribute to warfare, but climate change has shown to be a consistent factor throughout our past. There is a direct correlation between a lack of basic resources caused by climate change and the conflict that arises to secure those resources. From North America's beginnings with the Native Americans to colonial rule before the Declaration of Independence, the US has transformed itself into the global leader of our generation. Today is a celebration of the United States' historical journey to independence. History has shown us other empires at their peak who have fallen. The US, like many of these preceding empires, is vulnerable to sudden climate change. Technological advancements and science may help to stave off total destruction, but at what cost? The US has prospered through ideal climatic conditions for the last few centuries, but who among us are foolish enough to believe this couldn't change? While celebrating on the 4th of July, be sure to reflect on how lucky we all are to have our freedom, but also try to learn from the role of climate change in the history of fallen empires and remember your own role in the changing climate. In doing so, make that effort to pack and use plates, cups, and silverware for your picnics and outdoor parties, rather than using single-use plastic. Remember, always replace wherever possible. Feel free to let us know in the comments how you stuck to sustainability and your commitment to plastic-free July on Independence Day. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for being part of our swarm, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.